So The Strangers Chapter 1 hit cinemas yesterday in Ireland, and I seen it last night. Here is my non-spoiler review. So The Strangers Chapter 1 is a reimagining of a 2008 horror movie called The Strangers. And in that movie, a couple hears a knock on the door and there are 3 strangers all wearing masks waiting for them, and what happens is like a home invasion scenario, and The Strangers Chapter 1 is no different to that. It is a pure remake and reimagining of that 2008 movie. 3 strangers knock at a cabin door and they are all wearing masks and they start to terrorize a couple. This couple are trying to do a road trip, their car breaks down and they have to stay over in an Airbnb, and that is where all of this happens. But there are 2 main characters, Maya and Ryan. And Ryan is easily one of the worst actors of this year so far. This performance was horrific from him. His line delivery, just his presence, his charisma. I just thought he was cringy, and no offense, but he wasn't very good at acting. He was played by Froy Gutierrez. I mean, I've never actually seen the guy act before, but I just wasn't really impressed by the way he was coming across. And I know it's not their fault, but the script in this was horrific. That the lines that they have to read are just terrible. There's one scene where like that character of Ryan comes up against one of the strangers for like 2 minutes, and instead of doing something that could have ended that conversation instantly, he just yaps. He's like the mayor of Yaptown, and that just gives time for other things to happen where his plan doesn't go his own way. And I just was like, dude, it's just so stupidly written that the entire movie as a whole could have been done in 15 minutes if the characters didn't make such stupid decisions. And I mean, yeah, that comes down to the script and what was written for it. But I mean, what I did like about this movie was the sound design. The sound design is really good, although I wasn't the biggest fan of the performances. And yes, the script, as I said, was quite weak. I did find myself very hooked in, and I was very anxious and tense throughout the entire thing. They did a great job of building that tension, making it really creepy. You don't know what's around each corner. You don't know who's looking through what window and whatever. And the way it's shot, there's some shots from like in a forest outside the cabin looking in, and it's kind of a bit shaky cam that you kind of in your own head think, oh, I'm looking at this scene right here through the stranger's eyes. And that was kind of cool because you knew they were there lurking, even though the 2 characters never knew. And obviously when things start to progress and the strangers arrive and they knock and they start to terrorize this couple, there are some fun moments. But the soundtrack accompanying the sound design was very good as well, I must say. There were some really loud bellowing moments and it was decent. And the lighting as well, actually. There's something about the lighting in this that was really good, and I've seen someone else actually say the same thing. It was very good, and I was impressed by it. But overall, as a package, it was just quite lackluster. I think if they had pushed that 15A rating and maybe made it 18s, they probably would have had a lot more to do with this movie, but I think they're kind of restrained with it. And overall, like, the movie was a fun watch, and I'm seeing a lot of hate on it, and I'm not going to give it the best review either, but I still was entertained, and I still did enjoy my time with it. And as I said, there is some tense moments, some anxiety-inducing moments too, and just the characters, like the strangers' characters, are quite menacing, especially one. I think his name is Scarecrow or Sackman or something like that, and he has like a bag over his head. He is my favorite one of the 3 strangers. But yeah, look, this movie, if you didn't know, is Chapter 1, and the interesting thing about this new kind of reboot of this franchise is that all 3 chapters are coming out within the next year. So as far as I know, I looked it up yesterday, but I don't think it's confirmed. The next one, Chapter 2, will be out sometime in September or October, and Chapter 3 will be out early next year. So it's actually going to be within a 1-year time frame from when this one released. And I like that, but I think it's a double-edged sword. I think I love the fact that we don't have to wait long in between these chapters, but also if the other 2 chapters follow the mistakes that Chapter 1 just did, then it's going to be very hard to fix them, and that might be a big problem. I mean, yeah, look, it didn't really get off to the best start with Chapter 1. I think a lot of people are going to need a hell of a lot of convincing to know that these other 2 chapters are worth seeing. But overall, for me, I'm going to just give it a final score of 2.5 stars, 5 out of 10. I'm seeing a lot of 1 stars, a lot of 1.5 stars, 2 stars, but I'm just going to bump it up there purely because the anxiousness that I felt and the tension that it built was very good. And I mean, I hope that it's a good starting point for them to make the other 2 chapters a lot better. But yeah, the dialogue was very bad. The acting performances were terrible. The script was very weak. There's only a few bright light bulb moments, but hopefully they can enhance them in chapters 2 and 3. The Strangers Chapter 1, it's out right now in cinemas. Have you seen it, or do you plan on seeing it? Let me know below. And please make sure you follow me as well if you love movie content, and I'll see you in the next one.